So hi beautiful people, today's video will be a little bit different since, well, something happened. So I had a fight with an eggplant in the kitchen and the eggplant won. It won, yeah. I haven't done yoga in a couple of days or any form of physical exercise. So I want to show you today what my wide-legged forward fold looks like without warm-up, after a small warm-up, and after I do my whole hip mobility routine. Don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. It would mean the world to me, because in that way you'll be supporting me and you'll be supporting my channel so I can keep creating these videos for you guys. I won't be doing any exercise that puts weight or bends my wrist too much because I don't want to push it. Like, I don't want it to open and get infected and bleh. I'll be very mindful with my hand today, which is gonna be great for you guys as well. If you have a wrist injury or a hand injury, you can also follow along. So since I haven't done exercise in a couple of days, I have not done yoga, I have not done absolutely anything, nothing. And that's okay, that's fine, it's okay, it's fine, it happens, life happens, you know? So I will be avoiding sweating too much, I will be avoiding wrist movements, and let's see where I am today. I'll be just as surprised as you guys. For a wide-legged seated forward fold, you have two options. If you feel like your hips are too tight, you can either sit on a book, on a block, or on anything you like, or you can bend your knees. I know it's very opposite to what most teachers say, but then again, I'm not like most teachers. In my opinion, bending your knees will give you more room into your hips, which we want to open up, we want to protect the hamstring as well, especially if you have anterior pelvic tilt. Please bend the knees. But then again, you know your body better than I do, so you do you, boo, do whatever feels good for you. Either you can take my advice or you can learn by experience yourself, your choice. So if you want to follow along, just sit on your mat and let's check what our wide-legged forward fold looks like, in this case the seated position. So I would recommend you take a picture, check where you are, maybe make a video. You can see here I'm quite tight. And by the way, if you want me to follow your journey as well, tag me on Instagram, tag me, and I will check your pictures out and we'll see how this exercise and this routine helped you guys out. So you can see here that my wide-legged forward fold is quite stiff. You can even see that my pelvis has a bit of a posterior tilt, and it's very difficult for me here to fold forward. Like, this is my max, guys. It's my max. I'm feeling the tightness there and it's difficult. I'm also gonna show you what it looks like from the side. From the side you can see I'm really struggling to straightening the legs. If you cannot straighten your legs, please put a block or a pillow under your hips or keep the knees bent. Seriously, we shouldn't feel pain here. So this is my max. Quite my max. It's very tight. I haven't exercised for a couple of days. So let's see what this exercise routine can do for you, what it can do for me. And I'm sure there will be a lot of improvement if we warm up our body and if we warm up our hips properly. So let's start with a warm-up. Shake your legs out a little bit and come to the top of your mat. You shake them out a little, give them a wiggle. You can grab your elbows and we're gonna do a little bit of a lateral flexion to stretch our sides. Whatever feels good for you. Don't go to a point where you cannot breathe, just stick to a point where things are comfortable. Now interlace your fingers above your head and come up to your tippy toes. This will help us warm our legs a little bit, our arms, our glutes. Try to keep a straight line as much as possible. Now hold your elbows from the back and come to your tippy toes, slowly squatting down, placing your hands softly on the floor, and try to keep a thigh and stomach connection here. We're doing a forward fold, but we're focusing on our stomach and thigh connection. Back to a squat and back to a standing position. So holding our arms to the front, placing them on the floor, we will do forward fold a couple of times. Don't straighten your legs here, just come to a point where this is comfortable. Back to a squat, all the way down, back to a forward fold. So inhale up to a squat and exhale forward fold. Inhale to squat, exhale forward fold, prioritizing that stomach and thigh connection. And do this a couple of times. To squat, exhale forward fold, inhale squat, and perhaps now you can straighten your legs a little bit more. Inhale to squat, exhale forward fold, straightening a bit more, and squat and forward fold, giving yourself a little bit of a wiggle. So our left foot is gonna go backwards with a 45 angle in our foot. Our right leg is straight. We will do a little bit of side lunges, just adding a little bit of mobility, warming up the legs here a bit. Focusing now back into a high lunge. And we're coming back, straightening our leg, back to a high lunge. We will do a little bit of a vinyasa here. Straightening the front leg and bending it. So straightening it and bending it, and we will switch sides. So inhaling up with a little bit of a back bend, and we exhale, straighten the leg. Inhale, bend the knee, exhale, straighten the leg. And if you fall and lose balance, that's completely fine, guys. In these exercises we're not using our hands, so it gets a little bit difficult. So back to the high lunge. Inhaling, arms up, straighten that leg. Inhale, arms up and straighten the leg. Inhale, bend and up, and exhale, straighten the leg. Back to the side lunges, we're gonna go quite deep here, so feel free to stop wherever your max is. Swaying side to side. We want this to be possible, and if you want, you can use your hands to sway from side to side. You can see here an example. You can also use both hands. If this feels easy for you, I recommend you to do it without any hands, because it will help you activate more muscles. All your stabilizing muscles will be activated if you try to do this without hands. Gonna come back to the front of our mat into a low lunge. Adding a little bit of a back bend just to open the shoulders. We create some cactus arms, straighten them out a little bit, just adding mobility in general. Bring the arms back in different positions, whatever feels comfortable. From here we go into a runner stretch, back into a low lunge. So runner stretch, back into a low lunge. This is a hip vinyasa. If you want, you can use your hands for help. We'll come back into the ninja pose and we'll switch sides. So low lunge to runner stretch, to low lunge, to runner stretch. Keep your toes tucked, the back leg in the mat to activate as much muscles as possible and to help you keep your balance. So back into a wide-legged forward fold standing. Just add a little bit of a wiggle, add a little bit of mobility. You can sway a little bit side to side. Adding mobility is always one of the best ways to activate our muscles. And even though we want to be stretching our muscles, we want to be stretching them actively. That means that we need to contract and use the muscles. So feel free to fold a bit forward. If this feels too much, you can even bend your knees here. That's not an issue, that's not a problem. We're not going straight to an end pose. So here we're gonna do a goddess squat. Try to keep your knees in line with your ankles. And come a couple of times up and down. Coming down, we exhale, we inhale, coming up. Exhale down, inhale up. Exhale down, inhale up, exhale down, inhale up. And we're going to do some pelvic tilts. This is especially good for people who have anterior pelvic tilt. Also in the squats, a couple of times, tuck the tailbone and untuck your tailbone. I know it looks weird, but believe me, it's one of the best ways to open space into your hips. Add a little bit of a move, add a little bit of a dance, whatever you want, whatever feels good for you. And we're coming into a seated position on our mat, and we'll do a little bit of a neck roll. So any comfortable seated position, and roll your neck a little bit side to side, add a little bit of shoulder movement backwards and forward. This is not about a certain set of repetitions, it's about movement in general. We will do a lateral flexion here, where one hand will go to the floor and we will bend to that way, and we will do a twist as well. In the twist, we are not pushing ourselves into the twist, we're not pulling, we're just twisting with our core and lightly tapping the floor and tapping our leg. Again, a lateral flexion. This variety is the key, guys. So move your arms, move your shoulders a little bit. Do a little bit of cat-cows here without pulling, without pushing. Use your core, use your back to do a couple of cat-cows in a seated position. Open your arms to a different position. Cactus pose is always good. Imagine you're a cactus and your arms go to the side. And just a little bit of a shimmy, a little bit of a shake. Now with your forearms on the mat, we will come into a tabletop position and we will lift our left leg and we will do some glute raises. This glute raise, we will come out to the side and slowly raise and go back up. When we're back, we will repeat this a couple of times. This is to increase the mobility in our hip, to warm up our glutes, and we will change legs. So go a couple of times up and start opening the leg to your side, all the way up, as if you were going to tap your elbow. And come all the way back and do the simple back leg lifts. Couple more times and relax. Coming into a forearm plank, we will do a couple of hip dips because core is just as important. So in a forearm plank, we will hip or dips from side to side, touching the left side on the floor and touching the right side on the floor. To be able to forward fold safely, we need to have a strong core, so keep repeating this a little bit and straighten your shoulders out into a dolphin pose. Now dropping your knees on the floor and take a child pose as a rest for a second. If you can, lift each arm individually in child pose. And again, we will add a little bit of a lateral flexion in which we will open to the left side with our left arm. Our right arm follows. Give a little bit of movement in your shoulders and do the same thing to the right. And coming back to the middle, we will go into a puppy pose. So hips are in line with our knees. And our chest is trying to go to the floor, but our fingers are active in the mat. So you want to really grab the mat and push in the mat with your fingers. Here we will slowly shift our weight a little bit forward and go back into puppy pose to warm up our shoulders a little bit more. It's about overall body warm up. So we cannot neglect certain parts of our body. It's better to just warm up everything. Now go all the way forward into Sphinx pose and take a deep breath here. Now next pose we will do is fire lock pose. In this pose we need to have our feet parallel on top of each other. So our right ankle is on top of our left knee and our left ankle is below our right knee. So instead of just hanging forward, we will slowly lower ourselves forward and up again without help of our hands. Add a little bit of a twist here as well and twist to the other side. And change legs. So the leg that was on top will go below and the leg that was below will go on top. And we'll do the same thing. Just fold forward a couple of times without the help of your hands. Press the legs into the mat to help you come up again. And add a little bit of a twist to the sides in any preferred way. Twisting is one of the most healthy movements that we should do on a daily basis. Now this is the second time where I'll be doing a wide-legged forward fold. This is already feeling much better. You can check for yourself as well. My legs feel a little bit looser. Okay, I'm folding already much forward. I don't know how it's going for you. Make sure that you are actually pressing the heels into the mat. You can see that my feet are active here. They're always pressing against the mat to activate my whole leg. Now, this is already quite a good progress, but let's see what happens if we do a little bit of a hip mobility routine. So we will do about 10 minutes of a hip mobility routine. Now you can see we will bend our knees a little bit and we will sway a little bit side to side. There's no good or bad here as long as you are using your muscles and you're activating your feet, you're activating your toes, your heels, activate your whole legs. And imagine you're one of those air dolls at a car dealership and air is passing all through you and you're just moving freely. Now add a little bit of side bends. Check what your front bend is without pulling, without pushing, no using of hands. Just enjoy being here for a moment. If this is still too difficult, feel free to keep your knees as bent as possible. We want you to find this movement enjoyable. So keeping your arms away from your legs because it's easy to start pulling or pushing or helping with our hands. That's why I'm keeping them near my chest. Start going from side to side. And again, we will add some lateral flexions here as well. Don't go to your max yet. Just flow between the two sides. And with each time, you will just go a little bit deeper. Just a little bit. You will repeat this a couple of times. Just sway side to side, how it feels good. And slowly go a little bit deeper on each side until whatever part is comfortable for you. Keep doing that. This shouldn't be uncomfortable. You should try to find a way where these poses become comfortable for you. And if that means bending your legs a lot, then that's it. That's not a problem. There's no issue with that. Again, adding a little bit of a twist. You can see I'm quite a fan of twisting. It's also great for people who have kyphosis, which also I have struggled with for a long time. And add movement, sway. Sway from the front to one side to the other side, from left to right, using the front. Explore your body, explore what you can do in a certain range of motion, explore what it's able to do there. You can see now I'm already going much deeper. I'm putting my fingertips on the mat. I'm just using my fingertips because here maybe going up might be very heavy since your torso is already very close to the floor. So I'm not pulling, not pushing, not grabbing my foot to pull myself deeper, no. A little bit of fingertips is fine to help. Add a little bit side to side. We will go into frog pose, which our ankles will be in line with our knee, and we will be opening our hips a little bit here. If this feels very intense, which I understand, this used to feel very intense for me, just make it a little bit smaller. Bring your legs a little bit more together and focus on really keeping your upper body with your elbows. Now what I'm doing here is also pelvic tilts. Since I struggle a lot with anterior pelvic tilt, I always incorporate these types of movements in a lot of poses to open up space and to strengthen my hips. So when you're done, you can bring your feet together and slowly come out of the pose. And now we will try this for the third time. So this is after warming up and after doing a hip mobility routine. You can see my elbows come easily on the floor now. This feels quite good. Remember to keep your legs activated, heels pressing in the floor. And if you want here, you can do again a little bit of lifts and folds without using your hands. Add a little bit of movement and sit up and slowly bring yourself down and sit up again and slowly bring yourself down. You can only do this if you fully activate your legs, guys. If you fully activate, you'll be strong enough to lift yourself up like this. And just mobility in general, add some movement. Give your legs a nice little tap and you should feel proud of the practice that you did today. That was amazing. I'm really curious to see if you guys made any progress. I'm curious to see what happened to you guys during this hip routine. And just lay down on the floor for a little bit. As the last little touch, you can also give yourself a nice hug. The thing I do here when I give myself a hug is I grab my knees when I'm laying on the mat and I'll try to push my knees away to also, even in this pose, activate my body. So I will hold my knees so they cannot be pushed away, but I will be trying to push them away. So also straightening the legs here, opening to a wide-legged and coming into a happy baby pose. You see what your legs can do. Explore. That's the biggest advice I can give you. Explore your body, see how it feels and really tune into it, because it will tell you exactly what it needs. It will tell you what its limits are, and it will tell you where to push and where to stop. You can take Shavasana here for as long as you feel like you need it. Feel proud of your body, feel good with yourself that you just did this, because you probably must have seen some improvements. And if you haven't seen it, then check the video that you just made of yourself or check the pictures that you took and let me know if this actually worked for you. So let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions and I'll get back to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm very grateful and I'll see you in the next video.